We're the rebels of the digital age, rocking hard like the heroes on a rampage. There is an educational revolution in the air. We're here to show you we've got flair. Gotta raise the stakes, artificial and human minds. No time for mistakes. We're the pixel warriors, fighting side by side, diving deep into the code. Let the sparks collide. Level up your AI knowledge, let it flow through phases. What's in the future? Unleash the technology, raise it ever beyond the master. We're one step closer to the sky. Level up your reality. It's the week of AI.
See why I picked Dr. Michael Harvey's song? You're going to all know it by the end. I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome back, or welcome to your first session if this is your first session tonight. My name is Erica Sandstrom. I'm better known as Green Screen Gal, and this is my second year co-hosting this amazing event by the amazing Amanda Fox. This is Stream 2, and we are so excited about this whole event and all of the wonderful educators that are here. And I would love to give a big shout out again to Swivel, our platinum sponsor for the week, and because their support helps our journey so much in AI and education. And I want to give a personal shout out to Amanda Fox for creating this epic adventure. She is a superhero in my eyes and bringing this to the world when we need it most. And I am so excited also to say thank you to Brisk, because they got us these awesome t-shirts. They were our sponsor for the presenters. And remember to grab your shirt, because if you're at ISTE, there are really cool events you can get into just for wearing it with the Edu Guardians. Okay, so now I have one of my favorite people on the planet here. She is a dear friend. I can call her a friend too, Miss Rachelle Dene Poth, and I will bring her in to tell you all about her. I'm sure you know who she is.
You are too kind. And it's so good to be here, to see you, to see everybody joining in the chat. I got all these devices all over the place. I'm trying to keep up with everything. And yes, thanks for the great shirts. Super awesome. Thanks for Brisk and for Amanda for the planning again for this event. And I'm just excited to have a chance to talk with everybody and to learn from everybody this whole week of AI, because I love talking about AI. It's been a topic I've spoken about and taught about for
a long time.
Over 6 years now, which it's been super exciting in the last year and a half since the launch of ChatGPT and all the other generative AI that we've seen. So we're going to dive into some things, and, hopefully you get some new ideas. It's going to be really, really quick, I will say, because it's like rapid fire.
I know. And I want to tell them about you. I'm going to read it kind of quick because you have a lot to be proud of, my dear. You literally, I'm a fangirl of this woman.
Stop.
Well, look what I have. Hello. Your signature. Rachelle Dene Poth is an EdTech consultant, presenter, attorney. Very good to know. And author and teacher. And she teaches Spanish and STEAM. How cool is that? Emerging technology as well. Rachelle is a I don't know what that means. Juris Doctor degree from
attorney.
I can't say that. What university is that, hon? I can't say that.
Duquesne. Yeah, Duquesne University.
Very cool. Of law. And a master's in instructional technology and a doctorate in educational technology. She is one smart cookie. Rachelle is an ISTE certified educator and Microsoft innovator as well, educator expert. She is a past president of the ISTE Teacher Education Network. She received the ISTE Making It Happen Award in 2019. She received several presidential gold and silver awards for her volunteer service to education. She's also named the EdTech Trendsetter for 2024 by EdTech Digest, one of the 150 women thought leaders to follow for 2022, and one of the 30 K through 12. Oh, I was in there with you, Katie, of IT influencers. I was shocked they picked me next to you. Rachelle was selected in 2017 Outstanding Teacher of the Year. And she is also NSBA in one of the 20 to watch. No kidding. She's written 9 books, including her recent book, Things I Wish I Knew. And also this one is really, really good. I love it. Includes the voices of 50 educators from around the world, which is so cool. I love those kind of books. She presents regularly at state, national, international conferences, provides professional development, coaching, every district needs to have you, and coaching for educators on a variety of topics, AI, AR, VR, STEM. More than 5 years experience teaching about presenting on 6 years now. She is literally one of the trendsetters for this whole education with AI. So thank you. Columnist for Edutopia and Getting Smarter Defined Learning. She's a podcast. I love Thrive EDU, and you do a Twitter chat, and the host of PBL podcast, Defined Learning, BAM Radio Network, and she's also the host of Thrive EDU Live and leads a community educations on Facebook. Okay, I hope I did you justice. I know. But I was like, you know what? This is important. This is who you are. You are like Oprah of education.
Oh,
to
get
me.
out of here. There's no way. And now we're out of time. So enjoy the next session.
Have a great night. At least you got to meet her. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here and let you be the star here.
And what's funny, I have to say, Dr. Jackie, I see you there, and I do sleep, and it's great to see so many friends joining in. So hello to all of you, and thanks so much for joining me for the session. And I don't really need to even tell you anything else about me, but just tell me if for some reason my screen does not change, which I think it did. Just will say to you, I was super excited because I just graduated with my doctorate on Saturday. And the focus of it was on artificial intelligence and the need for professional development for educators. And so it's clearly a topic that I'm passionate about. And I love learning and sharing that learning with others. So just inspired by my students and wanting to do the best for them in my Spanish and my STEAM classroom. And I love sharing ideas in events like this. I just finished doing a 6-hour webinar on AI recently as well for world language educators. And so any chance I get to work with teachers, and I learn from those experiences too. So please, by all means, and thank you, if I see the comments, share ideas in the chat. I do have, and let me go back to this one. There is a survey. I tried putting the bit.ly in, and it didn't take it right. But I make a survey. If you feel like multitasking, giving me some information, I look at it in real time. It's easy to remember because it's my last name, lowercase, and a capital AI for artificial intelligence, of course. But I look at that just to see what people are interested in, and it helps me to learn as well. So diving in, those of you that are in the chat, I'm just curious, and I know that we are all very familiar with AI, but I'm just interested in knowing what's the first thing that you think of when you hear the terms AI, the letters, the artificial intelligence. Type some examples into the chat if you feel like it. Just curious if somebody comes up with what used to be my number one answer years ago. For the first 5 years, I always had somebody in the room yelling out one of two things. And then, of course, late 2022, over the past year, that answer has changed a lot. All right, so I got a Will Smith, school AI chatbots. So I'll keep looking at that. And here is a great resource. Whether or not you're familiar, I love innovation. People would yell out, the number one answer, in case you're wondering, was Terminator. There was always somebody in the back of the room that would scream Terminator, iRobot, Skynet. I had a lovely woman at a conference in Texas earlier this year that she said, danger, danger. And she was just nervous because she was very new to it. And AI feels like it's something so new, but yet it has been around since the middle of the last century. It's just all of these things that we're seeing and coming into our schools, in our lives, we're surrounded by it. And it's not going away. It's just going to keep coming and growing. And we have to be ready for it, as ready as we can. And so this image is one of many slides that come from Teach AI. And when I think about AI-powered classrooms, so much of what we've been using already has AI. There are obviously new tools that are coming into our classrooms, into the world of work that students need to be prepared to use. But this resource, if you're not familiar, Teach AI is a grouping of Code.org, ETS, Khan Academy, and ISTE, if you're familiar, have put together this fabulous toolkit. And within that toolkit, if you go to the site, you can find sample policy guidelines, resources, letters, how to handle things with academic integrity. If you're thinking about like students using ChatGPT or one of the other large language models to do their work for them. And of course, we all know that pre-technology, there was always a way to get somebody else to do the work for you, or to work around doing the work yourself. So that's where this information came from. And I giggle when I see this, because as a language educator, I've done battle with translator usage for years, and it is AI on the left. And some people said robots, killer robots. But I love the fact that it's not going away, because it is not. And for us as educators, thinking about why do we need to know about AI, and I skipped there just to move through. I'm not going to actually set the timer. You could type it into the chat to save some time, but just curious, if somebody says to you, well, why are you teaching about AI in your classroom? Or why is it important that our students know about it? Because for me, in my experience, I've had some people say, especially elementary teachers are very concerned about the use of technology, the over-reliance on the tech at such a young age, or older students, and blocking ChatGPT or some of the other ones. I've learned of a lot of schools where Quizlet is blocked now because of the AI. And so why do we need to know about AI? Well, I will tell you, besides the fact that it's everywhere, if you do a little bit, if you've ever heard of the World Economic Forum, or if you've looked at the top 10 skills in the Job Skills Outlook that they provide, over the last 8 years, roughly, those skills, those top 10, have not changed all that much. But what do you notice on the screen for the top 10 priorities for 2027? Out of curiosity, what do you see that's different? There may or may not be an arrow pointing to what it is. Number 3, AI and big data. All of the other things are still there, but that has now moved onto the list of the top 10 skills. So before diving into, with the time I have here, with some different tools that you may know or you may have heard of, and some ideas as to how you can use them, I just wanted to share with you some additional reasons why we need to know about AI, and that is to best prepare our students. Top 7 trends for the workforce, because we are preparing students for whatever they're going to do after they leave our schools. And if AI is the number 1 skill that's in demand. And I have some other statistics, of course, from having done some research and some writing. And here are some things that are really interesting that I thought I would share with you. And before diving into some tools and things you can put into your practice, but looking at some of those statistics of different employers and what they are looking for, besides the critical thinking, collaboration, the resilience, all of those that are on that top 10 list provided by the World Economic Forum. And if they don't start to learn about it in our classrooms, if it's banned, I argued last year when people contacted me, some writers are doing some articles and some research, some reporters, and I said, we're in the best position because we are educators, students are in our classrooms, and whether we are pre-K through 12, higher education, we all need to learn about it and work with it so we can help students to build those skills, to know how to use it safely and ethically and responsibly. And we know they're using it. The older students, to write things or whatever. I have students that I know have paid for the plus version of ChatGPT, so they have access to it. So we need to teach them and help them to figure out how to use it in a way that is not replacing and taking away their opportunity for learning, but instead to use it as something that's going to enhance the learning experience, to show them that there are benefits and what those benefits could be. So looking ahead, and I know that when Holly spoke earlier, she was looking, and the dates that she put on her screen scared me, thinking 2086. I was like, wow, that's really far into the future. But that's the reality of some of the students in our classrooms that you may be working with. It's really important that we teach students how to use these responsibly. And one other thing that I'll say about the use of some things like chatbots, they are not just used for, there's some tools that have, ChatGPT is a chatbot. It's using natural language processing to simulate the conversations. We see chatbots popping up on websites. Customer service is being replaced. And there are jobs that will be lost as a result of AI, but there are also many jobs that are going to be, have a component that you need to understand AI. And so That is important. So before looking at a couple of tools, I have some don'ts. And in the chat, trying to multitask as we all do, what are some things besides, I'll share these with you, the don'ts that I have, and I have a lot of do's. But we have to be mindful of things. And this one, the don't use AI without proper training, as I mentioned, this was the focus of my dissertation research. And Teach AI, in their toolkit, they had shared that 87% of teachers have not, as of that time that they put that together, had any training related to AI during their professional development. Anywhere that I use a survey, I did a training for a school district a couple of months ago, and roughly 200 educators responded. 97% never had any. On average, I would say it's somewhere for me in sessions that I do, and I do a lot of different trainings, around 80-some%. So we need the training, and the teachers need to understand how to look at the tools, make sure they are in compliance with the school policies, and also support the families at home that are working with the students as well. So that is a don't. Don't use AI without thinking about privacy. And that means going in and looking at their policies, because I know the first time that I looked at ChatGPT and all of its information, I was a little bit scared, a little bit more than scared, because what do they do with the information they are collecting? Are there third parties of the third parties? So what are the things that we need to consider? Ethics, hugely important. And as you can see, there are a lot of areas of focus that we could dive into with ethics. And in my 8th grade STEAM class, my students even said to me, why don't we have a course that's focused on ethics, or at different parts of our schooling experience? Because these are things that we need to learn about and to consider, especially in looking at generative AI. And most speakers, probably all speakers at some point, would talk about, looking at the output of what is being created, thinking about bias, also the information, personally identifiable information and what you're putting into it. And there are even environmental risks, which I didn't even consider that for a long period of time. So there are all of these, there's a lot of really great things about it, but these are just some things to consider. Relationships. We've heard it a lot, right? Relationships. Don't replace the relationships, because of course it's important for us to have with our students, with our colleagues, but using these tools that are available to us in ways that give us time back to then work on helping our students one-on-one, small group, or to better target our instruction so we can work with our students together. And then my 5th don't assume it's always right, because as we know, it's not perfect. It could be hallucinating. I asked it to write a bio about myself about a year ago, and most everything was on point. But at that point, it said that I had a PhD in curriculum and instruction, and that I was an associate professor at a university I had never heard of. So that would have been great if it were true, but it's not always right. So you want to make sure you fact check. So the do's, I will tell you really quickly. Investigate, see how it can help you and your students. Have fun exploring and testing things out, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, Perplexity, you name it, Copilot. There are so many, Claude, you keep going and going. And even with some of the generative tools that create art, for example, I know finding time to dive in is kind of tough when we're doing all the things, especially that is one thing, probably the top thing from elementary teachers that I heard is they just don't have time. And so it's little pockets of activities that you can do. Maybe you create an image and you have students discuss it. You create a quick activity using one of the many tools that are out there, and then get student feedback, see what the capabilities are. And now I'm going to give you a task, and I'll say, Erica, if at any point you would like me to pause and come back on, please do. Okay, first thing I want to share with you, because you may be coming at this looking for ideas on both sides, actually multiple angles, perhaps to teach about AI in your classroom, perhaps for you in your role to use it professionally, to use it for something in your personal daily activities that take time. I want to give a huge shout out to ISTE for these hands-on AI project guides. Now, they created these about 4 years ago now, and they're all available for free for elementary, secondary electives, the computer science, and then they recently added on the ethics, which is phenomenal. Now, for each of these, you really can go and just open the book, and you have everything that you need. You have standards, relevant, Common Core standards, the ISTE standards for students, for educators, computational thinking standards, and then you have objectives, key terms, what you need to do to prepare, materials. All that you need is in there, even things for extension activities, differentiation, the pacing guide, and again, all across all grade bands. Now, if there are any language teachers listening, then in the electives guide, I help to write a lesson on the use of translators because, of course, we know that they are available, not just in Google Translate. I mean, all of these things now students have their phone, and if they have the paid version, they just take the picture of the Spanish reading that we're doing, and it's in English for them instantly. But with these activities, it really does help you engage in a learning experience with students that they see the benefits of AI and they learn what it is that AI does. They learn key terms like machine learning and what an algorithm is, but it's also connected to the content. So for elementary teachers especially, or even electives, sometimes it's hard to find lessons. It's a great way to start in your classroom. So I wanted to make sure that I shared those. Now, here's a task for you, and I'll take a brief pause. This is what I think you should focus and either jot down or make a mental note is think about your typical day in your classroom, whatever your role is in education. I know administrators, tech coaches, IT, there are so many roles that I always forget some. So I would just call it in your work as an educator and think about a couple of tasks, activities, things that you create, whether for planning, your instruction, your assessments, clerical duties that take a lot of time. Think about having 3 or 5, jotting those down. And maybe there are things that you get to that point and it's a topic that you're teaching in your classroom and you think, I have tried everything I can possibly think of and I'm out of ideas. Or this is going to take me forever. Elementary teachers, I have some friends that have taught a certain grade for years and they find out 2 or 3 days before the new school year, they're teaching an entirely grade level. And so they have all of that extra planning to do. So think about those. And the image, of course, I created with a fun tool. I asked for an orange cat and I got a cat in an orange jacket. I was like, okay, it's close enough. So I ask you that because we have so many tools available to us. And the number one thing that you need to do when it comes to all of these, especially when you are creating something, is you have to be a really good prompt engineer. And there are a lot of frameworks that people have to remember, like, how do you write a prompt? Why does it matter? And it's the same as asking like really good questions. We would say for years, like, is it Googleable? If the kids write it into Google, can they get the answer right away? Then we have to ask better questions. So same with prompt engineering. The better you get at prompt engineering, the better that your output, what you wanted to create, will be. And it does take time. If you've not ever taken 3 hours on a Saturday night like I did when ChatGPT first became available to the public. But my focus is always making it clear, concise, and specific. And I have a couple of examples on the screen, and people often say, well, what's the difference between this and Google? And I think everybody pretty much knows that now. In Google, you can get all kinds of responses, but you still have to sort through the information. But if I were to type in, what is artificial intelligence into, say, ChatGPT, it may give me a very lengthy, highly technical, over my head description of what it is. But if I give it something more specific, like, can you give me an example? Or if I assign it a role, you are a teacher of 8th grade students in a STEAM course who are learning about AI, and fill in the rest of the blank with what I wanted to do. Like my very last one, explain it so that a 5th grader would understand it, give 3 examples and 3 follow-up questions. So the more specific and clear you are, the better it is. In the recent sessions, one of the number one things that educators will use any of these tools for is for creating lesson plans, for example, or doing some curriculum mapping. And if you just type in, write me a lesson plan about fill in your topic, you will get one, but it doesn't know what grade level. So it might just assume grades 9 through 12. It doesn't know the length of the class period. So by default, usually it's 45 or 60 minutes. And so you want to be more specific. You can always go back and say, okay, this is great, but can you break this down to account for a 45-minute class period? Or can you make this so it's for 8th graders, for example? So the better you are at prompt engineering, that will help you with all of these different tools. And so I thought, because of the time that we have, I would share a couple of different tools with you. And they are not necessarily in a specific order. I think I just alphabetically, but I tried to share tools that are unique in one or more ways. And Brisk is a favorite. The last couple of presentations that I've done in webinars, when I demo one of its features, I can see faces, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe that it did that in that amount of time. And I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but I know that I saw that there were some fans in there. Brisk for the win, I see. But it has 4 main tools that you can use. So you can create resources and give feedback. It has inspect writing, which is awesome. If you have a Google document that, say, students collaborated on, you can go back and have it replay how that document was put together. And so if I just copied and pasted the whole thing, it's going to show that. Brisk also has the changing level. So if you are looking at changing the Lexile level for some of your students, and then it has some other features. It has administrative tasks if you're writing newsletters, emails, for working with IEPs and accommodations, for example. And so I'm going to minimize this. And if it disappears, and I'll ask somebody in the chat, type in a topic. And the first topic that I see is going to be the topic of the day for this activity. And I love the comments. Thank you. Oh, that's great to hear. You gave it to your grad students feedback for their discussion board posts directly in Canva. Wow, that is awesome. Game changer. Everybody's saying they loved it. Volcanoes. All right. Love that one. Okay. So what I'm going to show you, if you've never seen Brisk before, I opened up a plain presentation, and it's a free Chrome extension that is on the top and then also down here on the bottom of my screen. So when I click on that, I have right now only 2 options available, because the inspect writing and the change level, those are not features that are available in Google Slides. But what I want to do is to create. And when the window opens up, hopefully you can see on the bottom of the screen that there are some curriculum essentials, there are administrative tasks, interventions. But what I want to do is I want to add slides. So I'm going to click add slides, and I'm going to just type in the word volcanoes. And I could choose different languages. There are different templates for backgrounds, and any specific grade level. I remember having to make a clay volcano back in elementary school. Couldn't really tell you what grade that was, but I would say maybe like 3rd or 4th grade. But I'll go with 6 for right now. And yeah, 10 slides sounds great with images, and I'm going to click Brisket. So if you've never seen this happen, get ready for the wow factor. So it's thinking, now watch my screen. And then if you've never seen this before, you can tell me, or you can share with everybody else what you think. And as all I typed in was the one word, I chose the grade level, and I chose to have images. You don't necessarily need to have images, but it is in Google. And so if you are seeing this for the first time, what are you thinking? Because think about making presentations and how long it takes to make a presentation sometimes, to get the background and the images and all of that. Now, I always give reminders that you want to go in and check the background, check and make sure, the accuracy of the information. Think of accessibility, the size of the font, the type of the font that it's using, and the pictures, whether or not they're relevant. And so that took very little time at all. And it's definitely amazing. And beyond that, You can then decide to create a vocab list, a quiz, more slides, a whole lesson based on this. And when you click on that, it will then open up a document that it will start generating. And you can even then translate it. It's just really, really quick. Yes, Jolene, you definitely need to try it. So Brisk, I know that is super quick, but I want to go through. And I know I'm going to need to clean up my Google Drive because I have been generating a lot of presentations while I've been showing Brisk. So if you haven't tried it, again, that thing that I asked you, what takes a lot of time? If it's creating presentations with a follow-up vocab list and a quiz and anything else, another resource, for example, this may be the one tool that you need because you can start with a presentation and then you can continue to add on to it. So there is that one main big feature that I wanted to share with you. And then going back, the next one that I want to share with you is Eduid. And this is going to be like the rapid fire to give you some tools because, you know, there's a lot going on this week. And so just to give you some ideas. And I like Brisk. I love that you can create that presentation so quickly, change everything about it, share it easily, and can build on it. Another one that is a favorite is Eduid. And I found out about Eduid last summer. I spoke with Thomas and Thomas, who are the co-founders of it. Actually, they grew up and work not far from where I live. So that's pretty awesome. But they have more than 100 resources available that you can choose from. So again, what you want to think about is, what are the things that I do in my work that takes a lot of time? And maybe you find, I'm taking ChatGPT and all the other large language models out of the picture for right now because we know that's one tool. Those are like one category. But then sometimes we want a more robust platform or something like Brisk where you can generate and then continue to build on that. Now with Eduid, if you have never seen it, it is available for free, and then I believe it's $5.99 per month. So I am going to hit launch, and in the crowd, anybody want to type in a quick topic? And the other thing about this is because they are still in the classroom, they understand the types of materials and resources and things that we as educators need to do. So they're continuing to add on to what they offer. And also they are aware of the privacy and all of the policies. Revolutionary. Oh, thank you. Okay. So I have across the top, I have different subjects. So I'm going to choose social studies for this one. I'll choose 9th and 10th grade. And then I'm going to just type in the two words, Revolutionary War, and I will hit enhance. And while it generates something amazing for me, across the top, you have different types of content that you can create. So this is my workspace. And then based on, I typed in Revolutionary War, it says students will analyze the causes and effects of the war, including key events and figures involved. I'm like, awesome. That's exactly what I was going to say. Now, if you are just starting, maybe you want a unit plan. So if I click unit plan and I hit add to workspace, you'll notice on the right, it starts to generate, very similar to, of course, how ChatGPT and the other ones will generate. It gives me the title, the overview, the objectives, prior knowledge, assessments, resources, and conclusion. And then at the bottom, it gives me some extra ideas. I don't need to use those, but it, gets you thinking about some things. So then if I think, okay, you know what, that's great. Now I want students to do something with this. Maybe I want them to do a demonstration. I want to create a vocab list, or maybe I want something independent. How about a research project? So I click research project. I still have my same objective. I didn't mean to click that one. Adding to the workspace, it'll continue to add and build straight down in that same workspace as it generates. And it gives the task, some ideas, some assessment criteria. And then I say, oh, you know what? A debate would be fantastic. Thank you, Eduid, for suggesting that. It'll continue to generate. Got slide 1, the Patriots, slide 2, the Loyalists, and then it continues to give you more. So you can go into an assessment. Maybe you want to do something with gamification and you think, oh, a historical timeline game. That sounds fun. I'm going to add that right into the timeline, and it gives you all of those that you can then create a game. So it has those features. It also has an assistant. So for those clerical tasks, If you have to write substitute plans, you want class announcements, a syllabus starter, accessibility. So if you are Lexile, that increasing or decreasing, IEP, behavioral intervention plans. And then they also have for wellness. So if you started the school year, icebreakers, digital citizenship, all of these are available right within that space. And then they also do have a feedback bot. You can build an assessment. So it's really easy to get started with. And I know that is a super fast overview of Eduid, but thinking about your tasks, maybe this is the one. And I've heard it quite often said that the teachers say, I can do everything that I want to do that's on my list in this. And then, of course, you have one of the other ChatGPT. Now, I know that School AI was mentioned. And so I have two last ones and being mindful of the time. So if you're not familiar with School AI, I have a really good feeling you'll learn more about it throughout the week. But my personal favorite is going to the spaces and having the opportunity to choose somebody from history, whether it is, a political leader, I'm an astronaut, whoever it might be, that students can then engage in a chat with one of these characters. So if you click on, say, Abraham Lincoln, you can get a preview of the space. As a teacher, you can also create your own space by giving it the correct prompt engineering of how you want it to engage with your students. So I got Abraham Lincoln here, and what do you think inspired the choice to have a beard? And the students can have a conversation. The teacher can then see all of the responses in that space. They do have tools also available to you as some of the other, Magic School and all the other ones that are out there that I won't have time to mention, but I know will be spoken about this week because there are so many choices available to us. But you can see they have some similar things as that you can do with Brisk, with like lesson plans, also in Eduid. But the other thing that I really like is the sidekick. And I have created a lot of sidekicks for use in my Spanish class that students then basically have their own chatbot that is asking them questions and helping them to build their skills in Spanish at their own pace, and it's adjusting based on their responses. And one of my students said first that they really didn't want to do this, and I said, come on, you just got to give it a try. And when they did, after they were done, I actually wrote an article recently for Getting Smart about AI literacy, and I have some of those student quotes in there. And they said, I liked it because it responded to me, it gave me the extra help, and it got me where I needed to be. And I thought that was huge, from going from, I don't want to do this, to, oh, I kind of really like what this does. So the Launchpad, you can create your own sidekick. I have created several, and it also gives you the feedback about what students' responses are. If they're understanding a topic, if they're struggling with something, there are a lot of different things you can do with it. And that is one that offers a lot, even co-teacher and some other assistants that you can use that you can have help with. And with the final 2 minutes, there's one more that I just have to throw out there. That is Snorkel. And this you may or may not have heard of, but my students love using all of these tools. I use them in a variety of ways. They like the School AI because they can have their conversation with their own chatbot and tutor and get the help that they need. And I can see where they need help and help them. But this one, I will pull up. If you haven't heard of Snorkel, you have to check out Snorkel. We started to use it, I think in the fall, and you give your students a prompt. It's great for any subject, content area, grade level that you're working with. But I told my students, I typed on the screen, write 5 sentences about your daily routine in Spanish, and then I want you to read it. I prompted for the feedback to be given that they had to speak in Spanish. They should speak at least 5 sentences. But if you can see on the screen a couple of things, I can go back and I can replay so I can listen to it. I also see the feedback that the student received. They received a rating of strong. It has timestamp about great start, you use these verbs, but remember, and it gives them the reinforcement, can you see the difference? And then good job on this. Now, can you try to use this phrase next time? The other thing that's really great about this is that I can give them a comment as well. And so in looking at feedback, we have all of these different tools that can help us to provide feedback because we know it has to be authentic and meaningful and timely. But with this, the AI can give feedback and students get that right away. And then we can look at it and see what did the AI say? Is it, accurate? Did it miss something that I would point out? And then you can type a comment. You can also record the comment for the students. But when the students were using this, I didn't tell them that it was AI. I just said, we're just trying something new for speaking. And the first student that submitted it was just like, wow, is this AI? Is what she said. And I said, yes. How do you know? And she said, because I hit submit and I got all this feedback. And it's awesome. So we have all of these different choices. And I know that I'm a little bit over on time, and there are so many others out there. Quizzes has AI. They even have accommodation profiles now. We could go on and on, but I know throughout the week, you're going to be learning about a lot of different tools. And so I think that we are out of time, but just a quick recap. Let me go back to slideshow here. So we have all those: ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, all of those. And then just think about what takes up most of your time and just have a toolkit. Have one of those large language models, and then maybe you make presentations a lot. You have Brisk. Maybe you have all those other tasks and you have Eduid and Brisk and the ChatGPT. And for game-based learning, you throw in quizzes. You want students to speak, and you got Snorkel. You want them to interact with somebody from history, because when else could that ever happen where they can actually ask questions? So awesome.
As always, Rachelle, my mind just is blown. I have so much fun stuff I want to try now. They're blowing up the chat box. Everybody loves you. Great job. And thank you. And I loved that you said 87%. When was that from? Of teachers?
Yeah, it was. I think that was in December of last year, November, December of last year. And the number has come down now because more are offering it. But in sessions I've done, it has been like 80s, 90s, and even the use of ChatGPT in some of my sessions when I ask questions, like 75% had not yet tried ChatGPT or any other LLM. And so, that's recent. And so diving in. Yeah.
Dive
Thanks,
in.
everybody.
And that's why I'm so grateful to Amanda and to you and to getting this out there to teachers. And I like watching even how different the attitude towards it has changed in the last few months, and it's just going to get better and better and better. Look at all these people. They're so excited.
Oh yeah, and I have a book giveaway from Eduid too. So if you find something, I forgot about that, it was on the screen, and I miss typing thanks ever. If you find something you like with Eduid, tag me, tag them, tweet it out, and I'll be drawing a winner.
Yes, and please tag Week of AI, and we will help with that and share it out. Well, thanks everybody for being here for this incredible session, as always. I know there never is enough time, even for mine. I'm the same way. It's too much stuff. It's too exciting. All right. So stay tuned for Jonathan Nalder and Rachelle. I can't wait to see you in person again.
Yes, I know. It's coming up soon. Thanks everybody for joining in, and who watches later, have a great week of AI.
Yes. So fun. Bye, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.
Hello and welcome to the Premium AI Strategy Accelerator, the ultimate program for schools, colleges and universities and businesses that want to lead in the AI revolution. Before you apply, let me tell you how this program works. Who is this program for? We focus on helping a hand-picked team of 6 to 10 change makers in your organization. And this elite innovation squad will become your internal startup, pioneering AI-driven solutions that define your organization's future.